Hi guys, long time no see, and yes, my voice is a little off, but that's okay. I'll live, I promise you, and I promise I'm not contagious anymore. I do want to talk today about what's going on with Elon Musk and the censorship, and yes, I am a Facebook jail inmate several times over, and now I have been removed for a second time from Meta and Instagram. So the only place that you'll be able to find my voice and my posts are either on Twitter or on YouTube for as long as YouTube will allow me. But you can always find me at www.mariopresents.com, where I will be continuously posting my articles, my thoughts, my musings, and my videos. But I digress. I do want to get into the announcement the other day of Robert F. Kennedy. I don't know if you guys saw it. I don't know if you guys heard about it. Facebook censored it 30 minutes in, citing that, oh, nope, sorry, we can't have his voice on our platform. And this is why some of these legal protections that social media has, that says, oh, well, we can turn down this person's voice or we have the right to reserve that. In today's society, unfortunately, social media has become a public square. So they really need to start reevaluating some of these laws because they are silencing people's voices. And that's exactly what he was talking about during his presidential announcement, because he was silenced. Authors were silenced, doctors were silenced. And he had some very, very fair criticisms of Donald Trump. I love Donald Trump. I do hope that he runs for president again. But Robert F. Kennedy had some very excellent criticisms of him, most notably when it came to the pandemic and the lockdowns. Donald Trump didn't lock down the country, the governors did. But he was the president at the time, and the president has more power than he or she believes that everybody thinks that they have. Case in point was the Bay of Pigs invasion with John F. Kennedy, when we were getting ready to invade and bomb the Bay of Pigs in Cuba, and we ultimately decided not to. And it wasn't that we ultimately decided not to. All the three-letter agencies were telling him and pushing him and saying, we got to do it, we got to do it, it's important. Russia has missiles there, Russia has missiles there. And John F. Kennedy made the executive decision, because he is the chief executive officer of the United States, and he said, no, we're not going to do it. And he averted an international crisis. Donald Trump could have actually said something, said, you know what, no, I really want to go with my gut. I don't think these lockdowns are going to be helpful. I'm going to force these states to open up. And people will criticize him in hindsight, say, if he would have been crucified if he did it, da da da. But Robert F. Kennedy made a point and said, Donald Trump put in these people who were safe, these people who were overseeing these three-letter agencies, who ultimately were not beholden to Donald Trump or the American people or any sort of virtue. They were beholden to the people who were paying them, which were ultimately the industries that they were chosen to regulate. So you had people like Anthony Fauci making decisions for Americans that were really benefiting Anthony Fauci and his partners, Pfizer, Moderna, Gilead, and all these other pharmaceutical companies. And in the book that Robert F. Kennedy, which I actually read, I didn't read it physically, I listened to it. I listened to it at 1.5 speed because it's incredibly dry and boring, but it's extremely informative. Robert F. Kennedy laid it out how Anthony Fauci aligned himself with pharmaceutical companies, with researchers, and he basically tied public money to research money to pharmaceuticals, and basically created this network where he could basically say, no, we're not going to give money to this research. We're going to give money to this research. And if you've ever been a research scientist, which is something that I actually wanted to get into, you'd understand that applying for these grants so that you can conduct your research involves, bigger corporations, industries, and government agencies. And all that money was tied to Anthony Fauci. Robert F. Kennedy detailed this in his book, The Real Anthony Fauci. And when people say, oh, he's just a crackpot, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he's some wacko on the left, I tell them, well, you know what? Let me explain something to you. If I wrote a book about Barack Obama, let's just throw that name out there, and I lied in any part of that book, and I said something that was untruth, don't you think that Barack Obama's lawyers would come down on me and sue me into oblivion for defamation? I mean, the answer is yes, they would. You do this to anybody, especially a public figure like Anthony Fauci. Well, then the question remains, why hasn't Anthony Fauci sued Robert F. Kennedy into oblivion for the untruths that he published in this book? Unless they were actually true. So this is what we need to start talking about. We need to start talking about the truth. We need to start talking about what's happening in our local communities. One of the reasons why I left Gays Against Groomers is because I discovered in my local community an educator, a counselor who had kidnapped 5 children into their own home. These parents were freaking out, going, "Where's my child? Where's my child?" And one parent decided to go to the school and saw their child leave with another adult. When the parent followed that car to the home, the authorities were notified. The authorities came, and they discovered it was a counselor who was taking these gender non-conforming kids and giving them affirmative therapy in their own personal home. And the parents were going, "Where's my child?" This is dangerous. This is happening in my backyard. This is happening in your backyard. And so I needed to focus more closely at home to make sure that my children in my community are protected. This is part of what I started with Gays Against Groomers, is to create these local teams. Once they're there, I have to really, really focus, because this discovery is something that really rocked our community, and we really need to take a hold of it. So if you haven't gotten involved, I encourage you to get involved in some level. Join a meeting, join a group, make a point to listen to a school board, make a point to write a superintendent, make your thoughts known, because the more people that are activated, the more people are encouraged to join. Our local parents groups met with the Senator of the United States, a representative for the United States, Mike Garcia. They had a sit-down meeting, and what they were told was, you guys have to make more noise. Unfortunately, the other side is extremely loud. They're very angry about it, but they're very loud about it. And so we have to bring that same level of volume. Although we cannot bring ourselves down to their level of behavior, we also have to make sure that we apply the equal amount of pressure for the things that we want. We can't just be seen as a small fringe group minority who wants these things, and we're facing against these other people who seem to be much louder and more boisterous than us. So it's all hands on deck. I encourage you guys to get involved in some way. My little community group has been going for now almost 2 years, and it's still chugging along. So I encourage you guys, join a group, get involved, and stay tuned, because there's some really cool developments happening with Mario Presents and some of the other contributors that I work with. I love you guys all, and I will talk to you guys soon. Mwah! Bye, guys.